Welcome. I bid you welcome, John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner of the world. Welcome to another edition of Album Track Ranking A through Z. Today is going to be brought to you by the letter T. And T today stands for doom metal band Trouble. One of the early this, and we're going to go with the self-titled debut, would eventually become known as Psalm 9 because they would eventually release another self-titled album later in their career. Um, this is an OG version of this first album. This is a put out by Metal Blade originally in 1984. I think I grabbed this copy probably in the late 80s, maybe about maybe 89, maybe into 1990. Um, it would have been about the same time I would have also picked up this. This is my original copy of The Skull, which this particular version came out in 1990. But I have this. This is their third album, Run to the Light. Now, this is my original cassette when it came out. This was in 1987. So I still have some. I still have my original OG stuff here. So, well, like I said, this isn't exactly OG, but although I will say I haven't listened to these in a little while, and I can't get these. I can't get these right. Yeah, I haven't listened to these in a while, but they're good. They're still good from memory serves me. So, formed in the late 70s, doing a demo in 1980. They would have a couple more demos, a little indie live album that would come out. This would come out. They would also be on Metal Massacre #4 with a track that's not featured on this album. And it is not featured on either of these as well. So it's a totally different bonus track. I believe it's called The Final Judgment. Trouble was known as this album here is probably looked at as being one of the first like doom metal bands or albums to come out. Saint Vitus also came out with an album about the same time. So you could kind of take that for what it is. This album draws a lot on Black Sabbath and a lot of the psychedelic sounds of the late 60s into the 70s. Uh, you have um, you have Eric Wagner on vocals with just passionate, emotional vocal deliveries on so many of these songs. I'm going to just preface that right now because I'm going to probably repeat it a lot as I go through these songs. You have the guitar duo of Rick Wartell and Bruce Franklin still doing Trouble today. On this one, you had Sean McAllister on bass, Jeff Olson on drums. This lineup would stay through The Skull. Sean and Jeff would leave. Jeff would eventually come back to the band off and on throughout the years up until about 2013, I believe. Unfortunately, Eric Wagner, the singer, no longer with us, passed away a few years ago due to complications of COVID. Um, this album, it's weird to listen to this album because you think you have this really doomy, sludgy sound, but you listen to a lot of the lyrics here, and there's a lot of Christian themed songs. Now, would I call this a Christian album? The jury's out on that one. I think there's a couple songs that has a little bit of profanity, so I would kind of exclude that. I'll go into that a little bit more as well. But some of the songs you really can't doubt or mistake the biblical elements that they throw into a lot of these songs. So they were kind of termed like a white metal band. I think Metal Blade gave them that, according to Eric in the liner notes of a reissue of this album on Hammerheart Records later on. And I think he found that kind of silly, but I think he would say that so many bands about that time were coming out with this black metal sound, and he just wasn't really into that vibe being raised as a Catholic. So he kind of wanted to just present something a little different. And that's what you get here. Now, there are versions of this album on CD and the reissues that also feature a cover of the of Tale of the Brave Ulysses, the old Cream song. I, however, am going to stick with the original album. So this is only going to be just the 8 songs here. So that is what I'm going to go with. So let's begin. This album, I think many would probably call a 10 out of 10. This is just an absolute banger of an album, a really strong album from start to finish. And so, really ranking the songs on this is also was a challenge. For number 8 for me, I'm gonna go with the instrumental "End Time," which is track 7 or song 3 on side 2. It's just a nice doomy instrumental, a lot of cool riffs, kind of all thrown together. Great song. Nothing. I'm not going to say nothing bad about it. It's a great song. Uh, Number 7 is going to be the previous track, track 6, track 2 on side 2, called "Fall of Lucifer." This is a driving of, again, very Sabbathy, doomy kind of feel, basically talking about the fall of Lucifer that you read about in the Book of Revelations. You know, if you read the Bible, and especially if you read Revelations, there's going to be another track coming up here that will talk about that. Number 6, this is going to be track 4. This is going to be the side 1 closer um, of the album. Is called Revelation, Life or Death. Here again, a lot of doomy, sludgy kind of riffs here set against the Book of Revelations and a lot of the things that the Book of Revelations talks about. Number 5 is going to be the single that was released, where you got the Tale of Brave Ulysses. On the B side, the song called "Assassin." This is uh, a very up-tempo driving track. Really, a lot of great riffs, a lot of great guitar playing by the duo Rick and Bruce. Uh, Again, a very underrated guitar duo. You know, they have this really, again, their guitar sound is so unique and so different from what was coming out in the 80s back then. You know, everything was like, as I like to call it, the 50-50-100. You know, I one of my first guitar pedals was the old Arion distortion pedal, and like the perfect metal sound they always said was like 50, was like one was like 50, like level was 50, balance was 50, and volume was 100, or whatever the three knobs were. I can't remember what they were now, um but this one, they mixed, you could tell there's like a flange or a chorus, or there's other effects mixed into their sound to really get this really unique. Nobody was really sounding like this kind of sound back then. Um, Number 4 is going to be the side 2 opener. Track 5 is called "The Bastards Will Pay." This is kind of where I take this album out of the Christian ranks, because there is F-bombs in the song. And of course, you have "The Bastards Will Pay" quite mentioned quite a lot. But this song is more of a political song. And like one of the lyrics talks about, they say it's, you're going against murder, but yet you're sending us to go to war to kill people, and, you know, peace and love. So it's kind of the 70s vibe, peace, love, dope kind of thing. Um, but still a very driving track, really good song. Another great Eric Wagner delivery here. Uh, Number 3 is going to be the album closer, Psalm 9. Again, you got a lot of slithery, doomy riffs set against Psalm 9. You get the um, a vocal entry where it basically quotes the one of the verses from Psalm 9. Um, Great way of ending the album. Number 2 is going to be the song 3 of side 1, "Victims of the Insane." Here again, I think Eric Wagner's vocal delivery here is just so passionate and so emotive that it just fits the lyrics so well, and the music fits so strongly to this song. So many great riffs. Um, the number one song for me, though, on this album has always been the beginning song, with so many odes to Black Sabbath. With the intro, the way it kind of fades in, um, you get, this "help me," this, like, this, you're tortured, sound, and you get this really slow riff that's kind of like the Doom, maybe a little like the Black Sabbath riff, but then you do have a lot of change in tempos. But here again, this is a song about the good and evil, talking about the tempter versus the almighty. And again, just a great lyrical picture here. So this is just an absolute classic in not just Metal Blade's catalog, but just if you get into doom metal, this I mean, absolute banger of an album. Like I said, lots of people would call this a 10 out of 10. Ranking the songs on this is just an absolute forget it. Yeah, it's just hard. This is just a fantastic album. Please go find a copy of it and go get it. And it just turned 41 just recently, released in March of 84. So so it's just had a birthday as well. So happy birthday to Psalm 9. So there you go. So look, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the band Trouble. I was into them probably up until about I would say probably the self-titled album, or maybe the following. That's kind of where I got because they kind of were coming and going a little bit. They took a little hiatus um, after Run to the Light, and then they were signed to the Def Jam label, and that's when they came out with, they came back with songs like Psychotic Reaction. Well, that was such a great song, and so many other tracks from that album. So do yourself a favor, go get you some Trouble and go listen to it. Join me next week when we talk about something from the with the letter U, and I think you might know what it might be, but we'll see. All right. So rock forever, y'all. John Claus, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dads. We'll see you next week when we talk about the letter U. Take care.